Okay, time to start working on the newcomer episode of Smash Talk. And wait a second, what's that over there? It's just spilling out. As it was just spilling out, like it was leaking or something. Okay, okay. Just need to check something. Guys, it's another Smash leak. It never ends. Just this is never going to end until the game comes out in Japan on September 13th. There's always going to be a leak that dictates how everyone's predicting how everything in the game's going to come out. Then something's going to happen. The dreams of this leak are going to be crushed, and Sakurai will have trolled us once again. It's inevitable. It's always going to happen. No matter how hard we try to avoid it, there's always going to be a leak like this. And of course, it's happened again. I mean, Gamatsu happened, the Palutena thing happened, and Gamatsu for the longest time I believed so fully in. But because of the whole Robin Lucina Crom fiasco, I've lost faith in it. Oh, I mean, just like most people have because of the whole incident. But this leak, out of all the leaks I've seen in such a long time, I mean, Gamatsu was a bunch of text predicting characters, and while they certainly did get really lucky with predicting them, this is full-on picture proof of a leak. And I mean, most of these, it's just, oh, it's a blurred out picture of the Wii U thing with Mewtwo using a Final Smash on Mario. I mean, it's always Mario, too. It's never, like, I don't know, Samus in these pictures. Um, but this leak looks so incredibly real. Like, it shows the character selection screen, as you're probably seeing on screen right now, of the 3DS version. And this is probably, I've read that, according to the leaker, this isn't 100% confirmed that this is the full 100% roster of the game, but this roster is pretty huge, and and it shows a lot more than what's on the website. It shows a bunch of returning characters, a certain character that hasn't been here since Melee, and a couple newcomers that haven't been announced on the website yet. And there's also stages and Mii Fighter stuff also in these leaks, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the characters, and I'm not going to cover the stages and stuff in this video, just kind of the characters and my reactions to them in case this is a real leak. But I have no idea. I'm kind of in the middle because I really don't want to jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, this is completely real, or oh, this is really false. Then there's no way this could be true. I'm really in the middle. I just want to see how this kind of rolls out because at this point we're so close. I'm not going to believe anything until I see it. But moving on, here are the characters that the veterans, excluding a certain one, that haven't been announced on the website that are shown on here. They are Wario. There's also Game and Watch, Ganondorf, Jigglypuff, Ness. Who else am I missing? Hold on a second. I need to pull up the picture. Rob. And that seems to be about it for the newcomers. Oh, and Falco. Falco, of course. Now, there's a certain other veteran that I was mentioning, how I would mention him later, and he's the character that has returned since Melee in this league. Like, he hasn't been in Brawl, but he was in Melee, and it's not Mewtwo, and it's not Roy, it's Dr. Mario? I mean, seriously? Out of all of the characters that were cut from Melee, except for Pichu, Pichu sucks. But except for Pichu, I think like Dr. Mario is the one I would have picked least, except for maybe Young Link, because Young Toon Link's kind of filling that void now. But even still, Like, I mean, I know there are Dr. Mario fans out there, but I'm not one of them. Like, I would have done much better with that slot being given to a different character from Mario. Like, I mean, Melee 2001, I mean, I could have been Toad or something. Could have been a completely different character, like, I don't know, whatever. But that's not the point. The point is, he's taking up a slot here if this leak is real. And I mean, I'd get used to it just like I've kind of gotten used to it in Melee, but it'd certainly be something I wish was just an alternate costume of Mario, as opposed to a full-on character once again. And, uh, whatever. But speaking of clones, now we're going to get to the newcomers. And, alongside Dr. Mario and Lucina, and I guess Toon Link, but he's not really a part of this in the picture. But the next clone newcomer is Dark Pit, and while I like Dark Pit as a character in Kid Icarus Uprising, it's just like, I mean, this didn't come completely out of the blue. He was shown at the end of Palutena's trailer, but I wouldn't see why they kind of soft confirm a newcomer like that. I mean, when I saw that, I thought, oh, he's an assist trophy, or oh, he's a stage hazard for the new Kid Icarus stage. I didn't think he would be a new character. I mean, he could use different weapons than Pit. Like, Pit has his bow and the upper dash arm and the guardian orbitars and the power of flight. Palutena uses the powers. Dark Pit could just have different weapons. Like, he could have, I don't know, the Crusader Blade or the Flame Palm or something like that. The Bowl Cannon or whatever weapons there are. Samurai Sword. But according to this, he would be a clone of Pit, which also makes a lot of sense because he's Pit but dark. Ooh. But I don't know how I'd feel like if this is real. I always have to stress if this is real because we can never be completely sure. But if this is real, I like Dark Pit as a character. Do I think he needs a character slot? No, I think he's better as just a Pit alt, especially if he's going to be a clone. I mean, Lucina seems to be almost exactly the same as Marth. Dr. Mario is slightly more powerful, but slightly slower if he's keeping the thing from Melee. I honestly don't know what they would do to Dark Pit to make him different. Like, he would just be the same character that could, out of all the other characters, could just be an alternate skin. He was an alternate skin in Brawl before he existed in his own game. But now, the next newcomer that seems to be completely original is Bowser Jr. Now, Bowser Jr. is a character that I wanted since the perception of this game. Since it was announced at E3 2012 by Iwata or whoever announced it. I wanted Bowser Jr. in here, and then as soon as Rosalina was announced, I'm like, well, Bowser Jr. doesn't have a chance anymore. Because I love Bowser Jr. I know a lot of other people don't, but I love the way he is. It's just in the games. He's cute and everything to me. He's a brat, but he's cute. And then it's like, Rosalina was announced, and Rosalina is really cool, don't get me wrong, but it's like, I really wanted Bowser Jr., so I hadn't thought anything of it. But if this leak is real, Bowser Jr.'s in. But the one thing about Bowser Jr., and I have to mention, all of these, the thing that makes these newcomers kind of like stand out, it's like a lot of these things, oh, they're taking pictures from Google Images. These are completely original, like, model render pictures or whatever for these characters. These characters have never looked, they don't have these looks in Google Images or anything outside of this leak, and it's like, that's really impressive if this is a leak. They spent the time to do all that, and oh my gosh, they must have put a lot of time and effort in this leak if it's fake. But back to Bowser Jr. I always imagine him using like the paintbrush from Mario Sunshine, and from that I thought it would be a really cool and unique moveset related to paint. But according to this leak, Bowser Jr. is constantly riding the Koopa Clown Car, which, I mean, that's cool, I guess, but, I mean, it's not the version of Bowser Jr. I would put in the game. But, I mean, at least it's Bowser Jr., and if Bowser Jr.'s in, I'm really happy, whether or not... If this leak is not real, Bowser Jr. is not getting in, unfortunately, to me and any other Bowser Jr. fans. But, if this leak is real, Bowser Jr. would be a great addition, at least in my eyes, especially if he's riding a vehicle, that'd be really unique. Next newcomer... Oh boy. Duck Hunt Dog. Now, this is another character alongside kind of Bowser Jr. As soon as Smash 4 was announced at all at E3 2012, this is a character that's always kind of like in the back of my head, like thinking like, what if the Duck Hunt Dog was in here? And I mean, the Duck Hunt Dog would be in there for like one reason and one reason only. He was Duck Hunt. The game was paired up with Super Mario Brothers, with the original cartridge that came with the NES. I'm pretty sure. I'm not the having a bit of a brain fart right there. And it was a cool thing with the Nintendo Zapper. He could use the Nintendo's accessories, like how I would have wanted Rob to be, but he could use the Nintendo Zapper or any other accessories. He could like throw ducks. He could fly, and I feel like it'd be a really unique moveset. Once again, not sure if this leak is real, but even if this leak isn't, and he's in the game anyways, he seems like he'd be a really unique, and I'm glad he'd be in the game. I mean, he seems really cool. He has an important part in Nintendo's history, kind of alongside Mario, re-kickstarting gaming in a way. And so I feel like he has enough merit to be in the game. Not as much merit as say Mewtwo or Ridley. I love those guys, or Bandanity, or anyone else. But I mean, he's a really cool character, like idea at the very least. And even if this leak isn't real, I kind of I'm hoping in the back of my the bottom of my heart that this guy is still a character somehow. Like if this leak isn't real, I don't see him being a character, kind of like Bowser Jr. But I wish he would be. Now the final newcomer that isn't in DLC land is Shulk, who Shulk deserves to be in the game. Almost, he's one of the characters that deserves to be in it most. His whole Project Rainfall thing, trying to get his game and Last Story, I think it's called, into the U.S. and Europe, and it worked. And just the whole thing. And there's a new Xenoblade game coming out, and Shulk has a massive following. Gamatsu hyped him up like nothing else. Shulk would be a perfect addition, and I'm not like the biggest Xenoblade Chronicles guy. That game costs like $100 to get, and I don't have that kind of money to throw around for one game. And so for something like that, like the most I know about him is through Chugga Conroy's Let's Play, which I've been loving so far. And I mean, because of that, I don't know too much because I don't know anything else about the game past what he's done so far. But maybe he could do arts like, I don't know, like a break and topple thing. Maybe he could use Monado Purge or Monado Buster. Maybe his final smash could be like a chain attack with Rhine or in Charla or someone else. I don't know, Ricky. But yeah, Shulk is a character that I feel like deserves to be in the game almost more than any other. And also with this leak regarding Shulk, I can't show a picture of it because I can't really find one that's high quality. But Shulk is one of the characters that's actually been shown to like be given a gameplay snippet from the 3DS version. Once again, really sorry I can't find a high quality thing. You can look it up from this leak, and my goodness, if there's any character in this leak that's gonna be in the game, even if this leak is gone, then Shulk's gonna be the character. He deserves to be in the game. I really predict him to be in the game. I think he's gonna be the last newcomer announced. But Shulk, please be in the game, because I want I want you there. Many people do. You would represent something that's really important to a lot of people. Now, the last character kind of thing is DLC, which I'm really not the biggest fan of if it's Capcom style day one DLC. But I don't know. Also, Sakurai, and this is one of the things that's kind of discrediting this leak. Sakurai's mentioned how he doesn't want to think about DLC at all until the game's completely done and shipped and everything. And that makes sense. I mean, you shouldn't think about DLC until after the game's done. That's the whole point. Downloadable content, you don't need it. But if there are characters in DLC way after the game's released, I mean like a month or 2 or 3 after, that's like perfectly fine. But to hear that from this leaker that there's DLC planned, it's just one of the things that makes me think like, this leak may not be real. But going into it, the characters that are being said to have been that are being distributed through DLC, downloadable content if you didn't know what DLC means, is Wolf, Lucas, Snake, Ice Climbers, and Chorus Men from Rhythm Heaven. Now, to kind of go over all of them quick, Wolf, not really the biggest fan of, but I mean, okay, whatever. Snake, I wish he could be in the normal game. Makes sense why he'd be DLC. He's like one of the characters I think, if there's any character that be deserving of DLC, because I don't think he's going to be in the real game, Snake is, alongside like Squirtle and Ivysaur. Lucas, don't see why he couldn't be in the regular game, but whatever. Ice Climbers, why are they DLC? Just why? I don't get it. I love Ice Climbers. But anyways, then the final one, Chorus Men, which if you follow the Gamatsu leak like I did, then you're gonna know who these guys are because they were one of the characters that were said to be on it, that were on it and said to be in the game. And man, I have no idea what they could do. I mean, I know even less about Rhythm Heaven than I do about Xenoblade, and I really don't know what they could do. They could bite someone. I don't know. They could. sing. I mean, a music-based moveset would be kind of cool as a new thing, but I honestly have no idea what they could do. But anyways, just kind of going over this leak as a whole. Do I think it's real? I really don't know. I mean, the whole thing is that apparently it's from like the ESRB, and that's the reason they have it. Like, I don't know. It's like the guy's friend worked at the ESRB or something, and then showed it to his friend, and then his friend leaked it on 4chan, of all places, 4chan. But he leaked it and all that stuff, and a bunch of stuff, and anyways. Do I think this is real? As I've mentioned before, still not sure really. I mean, they've shown gameplay snippets on Yoshi's Island from Brawl in the 3DS version with Shulk, Ganondorf, and stuff on team mode, and they've shown a full playable model for Shulk. They have beautiful profile picture render things for each character. Everything looks really kind of as if it's true in the game, but there's just a couple things about it that make me kind of question it. And honestly, at this point, I'm not gonna fully believe any leak. Like, even if there's a leak that seems so realistic, sort of like this one, that it could almost be it's so real looking. We're so close to the end of the game, or not the end of the game. When the game's released, it's like less than a month away from Japan at that point. And when that game comes out, there is going to be no credibility for any leaks anymore anywhere except for, from the game itself, and we're going to know everything about it. We're going to know all the characters, all the stages, all of the everything, at least in the 3DS version, and it's going to be a very exciting and strange and interesting time for all Smash fans, including myself. But do I this leak it's definitely, out of all the leaks I've seen in a while, this is definitely one of the most believable. I mean, it's just it's so much more than every other leak, and it's so much more than any other leak could really ask to be. And I really, I can't even tell at this point. I'm just kind of rambling as you can kind of tell. But it's because I really don't know what to say about this. I mean, we're so close to the game being released. At this point, I'm just going to wait and see. So, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Smash Talk. Episode 3 and Episode 4 will hopefully, probably, maybe, possibly, hopefully be on the newcomers and the Best Buy Smash Fest thing that I did and whatever. And so, for now, keep on smashing.